Did it.
Hey, wow, look at that.
I did it. I totes did it.
Welcome to the perfectly timed Wednesday Club.
Wow, that was, hi everybody.
Hi everybody.
Computer problems and I fixed it as we.
He was literally going, pay no attention to the, it was great. Thank you for joining us. My name is Amy Dallen. This is Taliesin Jaffe, and this is Matt Key.
Hi, I'm Matt Key.
And this week on the Wednesday Club, we're going to get into some of the nitty-gritty of how comics work. And I absolutely love the choice Ken made for our background image today. It makes me very happy. Thank you, Ken. You're the best.
Do you guys know
that she is unwilling to share?
This is from the Doctor Strange prequel comic that went along with the movie. This is Caecilius, saying that he wants to steal the book of Cagliostro.
Yeah. Thanks for looking out for us, Caecilius. You're a bad guy, but you're pretty compelling.
Yeah, compelling bad guy. who in the comics only appeared like 5 times before Doctor Strange sent him off into the other dimension in the Sanctum Sanctorum. But that being said, he's one of the few people who's ever broken into Sanctum Sanctorum. So, but he only appeared 5 times. Maybe 6.
Oh, we ran out of epilogues. You finally got to drink your coffee. No, it was so much more fun while that was just chaining, just combo. X7 combo,
Swallow.
I think.
You can't make me laugh with hot liquid in my mouth.
Or can I?
I think she's
Oh man,
perfectly
I didn't mean to give you a challenge.
We now have a new Wednesday Club drinking game.
So, speaking of things I'm curious about and are fantastic.
I'm so sorry.
What's all this?
Well,
Do you feel that?
I
do. You
do.
feel that when I tickle your
feel
your
that.
kitty
I feel
ear?
that all the way down to my tailbone. Actually, it's really.
Oh, your Cossacks.
So several of us went to go see. It's the 16th, 17th anniversary of the Josie and the Pussycats movie. And
It's so wonderful! Oh my God!
And a bunch of us went to go see. Actually, I'm going to briefly call a very, very brief special guest, Gina, come.
Hi!
Come on.
I mean, I don't want to be.
No, here, come on.
Yeah.
Come on, the other way. There we are. So yeah, we went. Hi. So yeah, we went to see there was a big wonderful screening of
Josie and the Pussycats record release party.
Record release party. I'm gonna do this. This is happening. A Josie and the Pussycats record release party.
Oh,
They're so pretty. Look at this.
Yes, they had an amazing record release party at the beautiful Ace Hotel downtown. And they got Kay to come and sing. The original voice of Josie and the Pussycats came and performed the songs with the original band. And then they played the movie, and they had a Q&A with all of them.
It was everybody. It was amazing. There was and oh my God, and Rosie Dawson is now my favorite person. She's amazing.
It was great. She
You're telling me there's a way I could love her more than I do already?
There is, because she showed up late and then kept making jokes about how Val got left out in the movie, and of course she wasn't going to be left out of the Q&A.
It was so cute.
How do we get Rosario Dawson on our show to come talk about her favorite comics?
I've spent most of last night staring into the mirror, saying her name over and over again, just like trying to summon her, but it has not worked so far.
Selena said Twitter. What's that? Does Twitter work?
Twitter.
I don't know.
So it was amazing. They told a lot of wonderful stories. I'm trying to remember the actress who plays Josie. What's her? Oh my God, this is so embarrassing. Rachel Lee Cook was telling about her wig, about her red wig that she had to wear because she had tried to dye her hair to look like Storm, and it had sort of failed.
Yeah, they dyed her hair red. Listen, I have never connected with a person instantly more, because you know about my story of when my hair started turning white. I thought I was turning into Storm and Rogue. I thought I was an X-Men, because I thought, well, if you got the mutant gene, your hair turns white. And so they dyed her hair red a bunch on set, and she hated it, and so she dyed it white
to try and
storm it up, and all her hair fell out, so they had to put a wig on.
Very punky, apparently. So she had this like very punk rock hair under a punk rock red hair wig. So it was very. But it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
And I'm gonna,
and then
we may have cried.
Yeah, we did. I cried. I cried in the movie. And then they also did a de jour single, which is the boy band from the movie. So there's a little de jour single of De jour Around the World, and Backdoor Lover. So. The movie is amazing. I highly, if you haven't seen the Josie and the Pussycats movie,
haven't seen it.
I'm gonna fix this.
I know.
We
I
have
know.
to fix it.
It's a really remarkable movie, and it. Oh yeah, look at that. Du jour means friendship.
Du jour means seatbelt.
Oh my God.
Du jour means crush positions.
You're so pretty and so popular.
So pretty and
You're so pretty and
popular.
popular. Yes, if you want to know about the terrible jokes that we're making right now.
All of the music is stuck in my head.
Coasters. Oh my God. Oh God. Yeah, clap your hand if you're happy. You know, clap your hand. It is an amazing movie. It is a lot of fun. It's actually a movie that's gotten better with age rather than worse, which is amazing.
Insane. The amount of jokes that they made that were sort of relevant then are more relevant now. They made a Will and Grace joke, and we were just like,
oh my God, out of no, like I've forgotten that that even existed.
This is still a thing.
It's
This is
amazing.
weird.
The Carson Daly jokes. There's so many good jokes.
There's so many good jokes.
Big God wants to know what are records. And Jimmy Eat Meatloaf is confused. You mean to tell me there's music on that flat disc?
Man, I just finished setting up my record player last night, like the night before we went. Like I finally, like the record player, right? Oh yeah, and I've got like a really cool little record player, so this is good. I'm gonna play this when I get home. I'm so excited. Door lover. Oh God, it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, and you know that we're really, really big Archie fans, and that version of Riverdale is an amazing version. The like 90s Riverdale is really spectacular.
It's pretty good.
It's an amazing comic book movie. It's one of the best comic book movies I think that has ever been made. Is the Josie and the Pussycats film.
Yep.
And it's really smart and really silly and super
like,
sweet. And
super sweet.
oh my God, I cried. I cried. She spent the entire movie like this.
I like the whole thing. I was just like this, and then whenever something would happen, I'd sing along, and then I'd clap, and I'd look over, and you just.
No, it was like watching like a 7-year-old watch Fantasmic at Disneyland for the first time. It's a dragon. I'm like, just. Like friends who did not know you were sitting next to me like, look at that face, my God.
Yeah. That like one of the second sentence your friend sent to me was just, you're so fun to watch during a movie. I'm just watching you.
It was.
I get very, very excited about the movies I like.
It's a really it was a very good time, and I really recommend it. Yes, if you do not know, you should go see Josie and the Pussycats.
What's this scene right here?
This is just they cut to them doing a lot. They have a lot of montage. It's a very montagey movie.
Very montagey.
So this
and
is
also,
montagey.
There's a really great blooper reel at the end.
This is their big recording room.
There's
There's a booklet. I haven't even. Let's pull
I
it.
haven't looked at the booklet yet.
So this room is the squishy room because they keep squishing all the little weird white dots on the walls, which is kind of.
The walls are mushy.
Just hitting it with their face. It's so good. Is there anything good? Is there anything good in there?
You just gotta run like Melody.
Yeah. I've been doing it. He saw me do it. I came running in. I was like, oh!
Yeah, he came running in that way today.
Oh my God! Oh no! So this is the lyrics of one of the better songs.
3 small words were way too late.
Oh, it was so cake.
It's that song. I hadn't even occurred to me that this particular song that the build is 6 hours, 5 long days for all your lives to come undone. And then this is 3 little words, way too late for way. I was like, oh my God, they do a whole countdown. Fuck, it's so good.
It's a good countdown.
It's such a good song.
It's good. All of them are
History.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Look at the Josie tickets.
I'm so sorry, chat, that we had to take.
sorry.
We actually last night we're like, I think we need like 10 minutes of Wednesday Club to like go
I don't
over
want
this.
to treat you nice. Come on, baby, roll the dice. It's all in the corner of this
Oh my God.
lined paper.
I'm so excited.
Amazing.
So good.
So yeah, it's
Just
insane. It was the only time that music had ever been performed live.
it was really sweet.
Really? Yeah.
Yes, the lead singer of Letters to Cleo back in the day is the original voice singer of Josie, and it was the first time and only time, and probably last time she's ever performed it, and she cried.
God. It was amazing.
And it was really lovely.
She remembered almost all of the songs too.
Almost
it was great.
all of them.
She didn't remember.
It's been 16 years.
No, I know. That's just amazing. I think that's so rad that she's like, you know what? I don't know. Let's just go with it.
Tons of people showed up in costume. It was really like there were tons of people wearing cat ears.
So many cat ears. There was someone dressed as Fiona.
Yeah.
With the amazing feather costume.
With a big feather collar that was like there's an amazing costume of just like these little wires with feathers. So every time she turns, it like whips through the air.
I'm gonna make you guess. Executive music producer.
Seth Green.
If you said Babyface.
No. No.
You are correct.
That's right. They mentioned that. Oh my God, that's right. They did absolutely.
Yeah. They said a bunch of artists after seeing this movie said that they called up Babyface to work.
And who did? They were talking about some of the other people who auditioned for the movie who didn't get.
Yeah, little people called Aaliyah and
that's right.
Lisa Left Eye and Beyonce
apparently.
auditioned for the role of Val.
So that's apparently a thing.
Apparently, Beyonce used to be shy.
Yeah, it was like way too. They were like, she's a little too shy, but I'm sure she'll get
So
her stuff together.
They did not hire Beyonce, but instead took the incredible Rosario Dawson.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
And I'm sure wherever Rosario Dawson, she's probably doing very well. She's probably got a nice career.
Yeah, wherever she's at.
Whatever she's at.
What is she up to?
I mean, her face looked familiar when I saw it.
You know, she goes to Burning Man. That's all I know.
That's all I know.
That's all I know.
Does she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She actually came rolling in and was like, I've been in Africa for a month and then I went to Burning Man and then I got the email and I didn't want to miss it. Oh my God. So watching the shock run around everyone's face was great. And they just,
no one knew she was coming. She like rolled up on stage as they were closing
the
Q&A and she was like, nope, I've arrived. And then it was,
yeah, it was amazing.
I'm so sorry.
I know.
I'm so sorry.
I know.
No, it's good. It's good that this happened. Everything about it is good.
We've got to get Rosario on our show.
Sure. I mean, yeah.
We can do that, right? We have that power, right?
I don't know if we have that power, but maybe we have that.
And one of the great
can
songs
certainly try.
from
Hey,
the
Liz,
movie.
can you book Rosario Dawson?
I'm here because I was in the comic.
Thank you.
Oh God, I'm here because I was. Oh, there's one of the movie is so quotable.
It is one of the main characters who really has no purpose in the film.
Yeah.
And it is addressed because they're like, why are you even here? And she goes, I'm here because I was in the comic book. And it's just,
Who?
it's so smart.
You'll
Missy
get there.
Pyle,
You'll get there, baby.
The lovely Missy Pyle is in it.
Everybody's in this movie.
She plays, yeah. Oh,
Everybody's in the movie. It's amazing.
All right, we need to set up
I know.
a
Alan
screening.
Cumming.
I'm not reading the whole thing now. Take it away.
Parker Posey in one of her best roles ever.
By far.
Like just everything that like the new Willy Wonka wanted to be, where you're just like, you are so uncomfortable. Every moment of boys, chips, and it's just she's just so, oh God, and like the weird like little thing with the US with the FBI agent is so good. It's so good. She's amazing.
Now you're not allowed to read too much of this.
I'm just looking at the pictures. I'm just looking at the
Despite
pictures.
everything we've said, you have to just let the movie
Exist and be in my brain.
unfold.
Yeah, and
you
like
have to experience it the way it was intended.
And try to
As a
forget
movie?
everything we've
As a
said and
movie.
just sit down to see if it's some dumb teen comedy based on a comic book. You've got to walk in like that.
Yeah, it is.
And then just let
and
the
then
earth
like
fall out
slowly
from
go,
under your
oh no,
feet.
there's so
Like,
much more happening. But like you gotta, it's.
I don't know how to do that now that you guys have all told me that
believe in
it's
you.
so much more.
You can do the thing.
All right, I'll try to revert back to like 15-year-old me.
We'll just put the movie in and be like, we're watching Godzilla. Just kidding. And then you'll be really floored.
Josie the Pussycat.
Oh my God, this isn't Godzilla at all.
It'll be like Rickrolling, but everything you do for the next like 6 months to a year might be a screening of Josie and the Pussycats.
It might be at any moment. That's the new. What do we do to Matt to punish him every now and then with the what do we do to Mercer with the weird wine cooler?
Oh, you're talking about icing him.
Yeah,
icing him with the Smirnoff Ice.
This is the comic book version of the Smirnoff Ice.
That makes so much sense.
Oh, you've been iced. It's time to sit down and watch Josie and the Pussycats.
You've been Josied.
You've been Josied.
You've been Josied. Do you not know what icing is?
Oh no.
I think it means murdering someone.
No. Well, yes. In the 40s and the 50s, yes.
In this sense, it's murdering their soul.
Okay.
So
it was a weird game in a group of friends.
It's sort of like it started at fraternities, and you get a room temperature Smirnoff Ice.
And they swim with the fishes.
Please don't do this at home. This is how you lose friends. Believe us, we know.
If you present it with someone, then they have to drink it. Yeah.
Or they have to take possession of it. So like Newman, I think used to keep one underneath the seat of the passenger seat of her car, so people were like looking for things. So what's this? Jesus.
There we go.
Yeah.
I was gonna say we
it's sort of like
hid them.
like if you look at this, you get slugged in the arm. It's one of those kind of things where it's like, oh, here's this. It's like what?
It's very bro. It's like, these are like weird bro game, but this is kind of the fun version of a bro game.
What's the consequence? Like
The consequence is that like Mercer has to drink the whole thing in one sitting.
Chug a gross
have to-
warm Smirnoff Ice.
Because you
Because
picked
you
it up and now
found
it's
one.
yours.
Okay.
You have to claim it and now you have to own it.
But so it is like a weird physical Rickroll kind of thing.
It's a physical Rickroll.
Like,
Josieing is way better.
expecting Smirnoff nice.
Yeah.
But we actually haven't lost.
What's the term for cool?
The friendship with Mercer.
Jerkin?
Jerkin.
It's totally jerkin.
It's totally jerkin.
So jerkin.
It's a totally jerkin.
Stop trying to make fetch happen.
Josieing is the new icing.
Josieing.
I did it. I did it. I did it.
I feel like I should give the cat ears back so that GIF would have been more perfect.
Come back.
Man, this is just.
This was us the whole night.
I'm
not
letting
even
people
kidding.
see way more. Yeah.
For 4 straight hours, just.
I made the right decision and I feel so good about it. Just tweet that at me.
Yeah, we were the last people to leave the theater. It was bad.
Yeah, we got shoved out, and then we just
In the
stood
downtown,
in the street. Well, like a safe part of the street.
Is Chad
You guys
okay with
shoved out
like
into the
everything
middle
that's
of the
happening
We got
right now?
shoved out, and then everyone left, and we were
Does
just
Chad have any
like,
questions about Josie and the Pussycats?
we're the only
Fatty
ones
Mel
here.
said, OMFG. Dan, it moved.
This guy's an icing. What year?
Yeah, what year is this?
Yeah.
16 years since this movie came out. It's actually weirdly more relevant than ever. Yeah, I highly recommend it. Please watch it. Just find it. Take a look. It's great. I own it on DVD.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
We're gonna have to
I owned it on VHS, the family copy. So all of the like naughty things were edited out.
Oh no.
I know.
Was Backdoor Lover left in?
Backdoor Lover was in, but
my
like
God.
random
'Cause it's just
random
under the radar
words
enough?
would get like the very end when he called when he's just like that dick.
Yeah.
It got switched and it's like some other dude's voice just being like that jerk.
That guy.
Yeah, pretty much.
That dunk. That dunk.
Somehow Backdoor Lover gets left.
because
It can be
Man,
something
this is a dirty song.
It's
Okay.
so-
I wonder if the mechanics there are that like 2 people are standing in a room and one of them is like, should we call it out or will that only betray that I understand the lyrics? I'll pretend it's innocent, and the other one's like, has he seriously not noticed? I guess I won't say anything. Maybe I just have a dirty mind, and then it just gets through.
We were talking about the Buckaroo Banzai watermelon principle a little bit in relation to this recently for a thing, which was in the Buckaroo Banzai movie they leave a watermelon. There's a point where they walk through the office and they're like, what's that watermelon doing in that vise? And he's like, I'll explain later, and they keep walking. And that scene was not supposed to be in the shot. It was to see if the producers were actually watching the dailies. And it made it into the final cut of the film because apparently no one ever watched the footage.
I didn't know that story!
It was just let's just put a watermelon there and see if anybody sends us a note, and if they don't, then we know we're pretty much free to do whatever we like.
That's amazing.
I know.
In what?
In Buckaroo Banzai.
Have you seen Buckaroo Banzai?
You gotta be buckarooed.
My God, Buckaroo Banzai. Josie and the Pussycats. Buckaroo Banzai, Josie and the Pussycats is like a weirdly comic relatable double feature.
That doesn't sound good either, though.
Yeah, that is
Being
kind of-
Josie is better.
Being Buckarooed?
So Buckaroo Banzai is not based on a comic book, but
What
it
is
is
it?
80s amazingness
Being Hong Kong Cavalier.
that you're gonna love.
I can't wait.
Yeah, we'll do a double feature.
Yeah, we'll do a double feature with
good
me
double
watching
It's
Josie and you
Buckaroo
watching
Banzai and
Buckaroo.
Adventures across
I'm
the
ready.
8.5 dimension.
Yeah. It's amazing. All right.
Sold.
Yeah.
And it stars RoboCop and Jeff Goldblum.
It's great.
What?
And John
Why is-
Lithgow.
why-
And John
And John
Lithgow.
Lithgow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
want
right.
to watch. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's amazing. You'll love it. It's great.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much.
Thanks for letting us.
Thank you for letting us nerd. It was,
We wasn't
needed to
ready to
make
let it go.
I know. It was so much.
I've been looking at the things for this for months, and I knew I couldn't go, and it's been killing me. So I'm glad that like you guys went, and I get to look at all this stuff and hear all the stories, and it's amazing.
Well, yeah. We'll have a screen. We'll have
a screening.
And the movie exists just as much for the rest of us.
we'll
we just
bug
get
Erica
to enjoy
Ishii
the
about
story.
having a screening in the ball
That's
pit.
the great thing. But do
I
it.
desperately want to see this movie in
never
Eric
been to
Ishii's
the
ball pit.
I've never been there. I've never been in the.
People are learning
It's a
way
night of
too much
firsts.
about us tonight. I'm so sorry.
So many firsts for us.
It's like kill it. Yeah. There's a.
Erica hasn't invited us, but now it's on the internet, so.
She's made no bones
invited.
about the fact that she has a ball
She's
pit
invited us.
that has
We're like
that has a
vampires.
movie.
She said it once.
That has a movie screen attached to it, so you can watch
does?
movies in a ball pit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They watch movies in the
Oh,
ball
yeah.
pit.
Yeah.
It's a
So
thing.
Josie is definitely.
Josie is such a good ball pit movie.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah.
go before I start crying.
I love you. Thank you so much. Oh, that was amazing. Thank you for everything last night. I think this is
Thanks
my
for
copy.
coming on. We're gonna experience movies
I wanted
together.
high fives and hugs.
High five hugs.
Meow.
And
Meow.
Bye guys.
So pretty popular.
So
Meow,
pretty
meow.
and popular.
So pretty
So pretty and popular.
Pretty popular. That joke will make sense to everybody one day. Thank you for letting me divert our entire
that
show
was amazing!
for a little bit of that. So, and I'm gonna keep wearing my ears.
Side note,
Okay.
this is a thing I love. I hope it's as fun for y'all as it is for us up here. But like, it's a thing that I love that about getting to do this show every week is that like, it's about comics and the things we love about comics, and being able to share an experience like that for like a weird revival showing of a semi-obscure comic book film, like, I'm really glad we get to be here and that y'all are here with us. And
There's
we
a
all
lot of
get
people in the chat who are saying it's just fun just to watch us scream at each other.
This is part of fandom life, and we get to have it together.
Wednesday Club is friendship.
Fandomonium.
Wednesday Club is seatbelts. No, I guess that's not.
Wednesday Club is not crash positions yet.
No.
But we're working.
I get jokes.
You're going to be so
sorry.
happy. Oh, we get to indoctrinate you. I'm so excited. So yes, I suppose we should actually start talking about our actual topic. Thank you for letting me interject.
Yep. So this show.
I thought you were going to like slam it. I was really excited.
Well, I almost did. And I was like, I don't
Then you're
know.
like, what if I'm too strong and I hit the whole table and it flips
Boom.
out?
So-
And then we have hot coffee
Crash
all over
positions.
us.
So this is like the thickness of like your standard weekly Japanese comic.
So, okay. We're going to talk today about a little bit about the mechanics of how a modern-day comic shop works, and principally about one of the chief tools that we use and that you can use as a comic book fan, and it is called the Previews Catalog. Your early explanation of terms. This is the Previews Catalog. It is published and comes out of Diamond Comics. Diamond Comics is a distributor. And this sounds like a weird, boring thing that shouldn't be relevant to Chief Tools? Yeah.
Yes.
This sounds like a weird, boring thing that shouldn't be relevant to loving comics, but because comics is small and twisted, there's very little about the behind the scenes that doesn't end up speaking to the nature of comics and the way they evolve over time. So, at present, and I can say for the better part of 20 years, I think.
Sounds about right.
Diamond has had essentially a monopoly, which is to say, if you are ordering Marvel Comics, if you are ordering DC Comics, you are getting them through Diamond Comics. These companies, along with many others, have arrangements with them, and as a result, the distributor who is carrying the books on behalf of the publishers, Marvel and DC, and everybody else, they put together a monthly catalog. So what happens is that around the end of the month, it's not super consistent. For instance, this one just came out today, so it's end of September in this case. It is the October catalog. I'm saying all these things over dramatically because all of them are sort of surprisingly confusing once you get into the details.
It makes you sound like a supervillain. I'm really into it.
Oh, but I have to say, like, I know very little about this entire process, and I am so excited to just sit here and listen to you and just like sit at your feet and learn.
Aww.
I know a little bit about this process, and I definitely have some mixed feelings, both very good and very bad about this
So
phone
there's
book.
a lot of sort of mixed feelings about the situation, but we can describe the way that it currently works. Except I forgot the most important piece to bring for all of you.
Which is?
I didn't bring the order form.
Yeah, no. Actually,
The order form is a small newsprinty, many-paged. This doesn't really show you what it looks like because I didn't bring any. Oops, you've got a foom there. Do you have an order form?
It might be in the foom.
A foom? There you go.
No, I just. What? Yeah, thank you.
Never mind. Thank you, Chief.
Okay.
Chief is the best.
So this is a look at the order form, which would have accompanied your 2009 previews orders. Oh man, we should just look through it.
What are we getting in
Valentine's
2009?
Day.
I should have brought this. Actually, it's super fun to look at years-old previews.
Saga Solomon Kane.
Yep.
Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah.
Had
makes
recently
sense.
arrived back at Dark Horse at this
Chronicles of
point.
Conan.
Conan.
Trade paperbacks. Volume
So
6,
what
7,
you are
8.
looking at right now is the form that accompanies the giant catalog. And the interesting thing about the giant catalog is that this comes out every single month and has basically different stuff every single month. And what will happen is that in the pages of this book will be a month's worth of comics, graphic novels, toys, T-shirts, and other merchandise. It's what we use mostly to figure out what we will stock in the store. But in addition to that, a chunk of customers, in our store we call them previews customers, will actually buy or browse one of these catalogs, fill out one of those order forms, and specifically pre-order the books and items that they're interested in. So for instance, if you want a statue, but you're not sure if we're going to carry it because we're a small shop, we don't get every statue.
Yeah.
There are 600 friggin', I don't know if they're literally 600 pages, but let's find out.
The pages somewhere in the 500s there.
500s, yeah.
591,
Yeah,
593,
almost 600 pages.
595, 597, 601. There are 600 pages in this catalog. We don't get everything. But if there's something in there that you're interested in, this is how you catch it when the pre-order period is open. Now, everything's on a different cycle. So you're looking at the October catalog, which basically means you have the month of October until about mid-October. It's usually the 18th to submit your orders from this catalog. And the delay will usually be that you are ordering comics 2 months ahead. So
this is
in October, you're ordering December comics.
Okay.
Comics that will ship in December, and longer turnarounds for other types of materials. So your trade paperbacks and graphic novels are usually roughly 3 months ahead. Your toys and merchandise can be all over the place. Your statues from Japan can be truly ridiculous amounts of time. So that's one of the reasons that you'll find if you go to order something and they're like, sorry, we had to order that a year ago, and you're like, it's not coming out till next spring.
Yeah.
That's because they nail down these things way early.
There's 100 pages of just toys, by the way, in this month's previews. Page 484 to page 584 are just collectibles, toys, and novelties.
Anymore?
I do. I play with your toys when I go to your house, man. I know you put them in that glass case. I don't care.
Not to sound mean, but it just sounds friendly. Like, I enjoy going to your house and playing toys with you.
This is why I can't threaten her, is I try and do the threatening voice, and she just kind of nods and goes, okay.
Yep.
Well, if you're
Whereas
like,
I know that you're
also
threatening
like
me.
cake. It's just not that,
I also like cake.
That was.
Oh, wow, I did it.
Yeah, wow.
It's the cat ears.
Also like cake.
I will have some cake.
So this giant brick of a thing comes out every single month. You have a couple of weeks to submit your orders or to just browse it and get a sense of what's coming out. It is very interesting because the listings in this catalog will usually be posted online a little bit before the physical catalog comes out.
It didn't even occur to me.
So you get.
Do you have to have a special membership to go onto the website?
You do not. Previewsworld.com.
What?
Is viewable by anyone at any time.
I'm on a comic book show and I just learned that.
I didn't know, man.
I would like to say
Last time I
that
touched a preview, yeah, it's been
now,
ages.
as opposed to, say, when I started working at the shop almost 10 years ago, the website is much less awful. So I can now, in good conscience, send you there, and they'll actually have like the order forms posted for you to look at. It's been very interesting because Diamond is the only company. There have been things that they are quick to change with the times with, and things that have not.
Because they don't have to.
Yeah.
They really
it's monopoly rules.
The only threat to their system so far that I'm aware of has to be Comixology. Comixology is the only thing that's even vaguely.
It's a very interesting time.
Yeah.
And, of course, the fact that there are a couple of things that are destabilizing things for Diamond Comics, the monopoly distributor. One is Comixology, although they have made, there's a reason that your comics on Comixology are generally not significantly cheaper than paper comics, and it's sort of these behind-the-scenes agreements of, not trying to disrupt the industry too much. Now, your mileage may vary on whether these are good ideas. There's a strong argument to be made that digital comics should be cheaper if we want that market to open back up. But these are big picture concerns. We have a lot of,
No, this is a big conversation. There's so much.
This is currently, and for the last 10, going on 20 years, your big source for comics. These days, you can also get comics through some of the bookstore distributors. Most shops, smaller shops especially, only work with Diamond. But there are a lot of folks who will either start separate individual accounts with the smaller publishers that they're interested in getting interesting independent stuff from, or they will co-sign on for one of the bookstore distributors who might be sending scholastic graphic novels in addition to your regular nonfiction and other bookstore type source things. This, I believe, is the reason that half the time I can't order Fun Home, which makes me crazy because it's constantly selling out at Diamond, and we should just always have it.
I feel you. I'll also say I was always a very big fan of this as a teenager. I have not kept up because I don't have a comic book store that I go to as often as I used to. I don't have my weekly. This is my weekly comic book store now, so I get all of my emotional needs here, not from a previous catalog. But when I was a child, I remember the Sears catalog. Do you remember the Sears catalog that would come out in Christmas?
Oh yeah, and you would circle all the toys you wanted, and then you would leave it out for your mom and dad to find.
Yeah, no, and bless your parents, they were really kind to me considering like how far away I lived.
Yeah, it was always weird that you got all the toys and I lived with them.
I have much brighter highlighters is the trick. But no, I don't know why. You're so much fun today. Thank you. I love you. This very much always gave me, like, this is actually a really pleasing read. If you've never picked up a previews and just leafed through it.
I complain about the size of the previews, the fact that it costs you money to buy it. I complain about a lot of stuff, but at the same time, it is a wonderful little trove of wonders, and it is a fantastic...
Trove of wonders. I love you so much for that.
Well, that's the thing it seems logical
just
to say.
taking a
it's
highlighter.
a fantastic way to just, like, familiarize yourself with how much is out there.
And just going through a highlighter and finding, like, I would take a highlighter and just circle things that I wanted and just like tear out the pages and slowly collect pages of the things that I would like want to save up for eventually. I also was briefly doing the manga purchasing for my store, and they would just hand me the previews and be like, just here's 3 different color tiers, circle the best in one color, medium, and like weird indie stuff that you think we should have, and keep it under like 10 books a month. And I was like, I would just go through and like help them with their ordering just by.
I thought you said $10 a month, and I was like, that sounds hard.
10 books a month.
You got 2 mangas a month. Good.
That's and this was back when they were really expensive. So, how do they decide who gets who? Like, do you have to pay for spreads, or they're very specific?
There are
some of this, yeah.
The internal divisions for the previous catalog. There is essentially. Most of the book is broken up by category. Like you said, there's about 100 pages of toys, or however many. There's a section for T-shirts, but the comics themselves have 2 different breakdowns. One which is a general alphabetical listing by publisher. So, for instance, Boom comes before Dynamite, which comes before Titan, which comes before Valiant. But in advance of that. You have 5 what are, I think, called premier publishers. These are folks. Hey, that's a good page.
Right there.
Let me find it.
Dark Horse, DC, IDW, Image, Marvel.
Yeah, those are the premier publishers. They have struck whatever deal with Diamond is what? Put it by Groot if you want to show it. Put it by Groot if I want to show it. Yeah. Turn the other. We're almost there. Yeah.
Look at that.
Okay, I have never seen them do this feature, and I love this.
Everything?
That's exactly what I just noticed.
What? What madness?
How much would it cost you to buy
everything in the book?
3,093 new comics, graphic novels, T-shirts, toys, and other collectibles in this issue of previews! Exclamation point. $87,145.55.
That's it?
That feels strange to know. I don't know how I
love that they did this. Wow. I did not know this was in here.
Wow.
Holy. Amy, by the way, Death Likes Cats says that they are so down for a rant on the industry stuff if you have one.
I have a challenge for the chat room. Figure out something else that is worth $87,145.55. I'm kind of curious what else one can get for $87,000.
How many beans are in this jarring it? Just be like, what else could you buy for that?
Is that a small boat? Is that
a really nice European car?
Is it a very expensive mobile home? Is it perhaps a couple issues of Amazing Spider-Man? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
What can you get for $87,145?
For $87,000.
$87,145.55. It's get your scam better. Yes, I'm not going to fight that.
It probably does, but I don't know what that is.
What would you do? Ooh, for a Klondike bar, but I replaced Klondike bar with $87,000.
For that? That's a song?
What would you
I didn't know what would you do for a Klondike bar.
No, you were just a portal. I mean, like that too. But I was with you on that one, so it's okay.
So we're old.
We're old. We actually.
Thanks for making me feel my age, Dallen.
No, we got a year older. She got a year younger. This is how it. This is 1 year between us.
Undercover Goth says $87,000 is a vial of Matt Mercer's tears.
That's actually true.
That's true.
Currently on eBay.
As the person who would most be, like, if you were getting a superlative, most likely to start a side business selling weird bodily fluids of your friends?
Laura Bailey did give me a Victorian tear collector for my birthday this year.
That is not surprising in the least.
I've only started to use it because it's been a pretty good year. I should have brought it to Josie now that I'm thinking about it.
Okay,
Yeah,
what's a tear collector?
The Victorians were really into mourning, so like you would have a little vial that you would collect your tears in when someone died. You would keep it as a memento, as your collection of all the tears that you shed for them. Because yeah, the Victorians were weird. They were weird. Weird. That's a thing. It's like the way you would make jewelry out of their hair. There's all sorts of stuff. Yeah, there's all sorts of things that they would do. Fun fact. Yeah.
I need to do so much Googling.
I'll bring it in next week. You'll love it. It's great.
Here's one thing you could buy.
Yeah, that's
nice.
It's still cheaper to get a single, and you would have money left over for 4.0 Amazing Fantasy 15.
Oh wow, $60,000 in as a 4.
You could get the other 1.5 and still just be slightly under this one October's preview catalog.
Yep. So the catalog each month will have like
to have like an actual collector come on the show and talk about like collecting like really expensive comics, because like I enjoy collecting.
I got people, that we could pull in.
Of course you've got people. Taliesin has people for everything.
Yeah, we got, and I'm sure you have people for that too. We've got, who come in and talk about grading.
Taliesin legitimately knows like probably 30% of
knows a guy. Yeah, knows a guy's game is real. I got a guy who can get you a toe with nail polish. Little Lord. So yeah, man, it's been so long since I've looked at one of these.
I love these
and I'm already like thinking like I need a highlighter up here because I want to actually do some shopping. I'm already so excited. Like I feel a little bit like Randy Pan the Goat Boy, but wow, there's a new Barbarella comic book coming out.
Okay, so question from Elwifig. How does your average shop go about picking new special things to order from a 600-page book?
That's a really good question. Other than
I second that question.
You try as much as possible to look at everything in here. It helps, to your question about spacing, the people who've sort of purchased those sections up front to be premier publishers get to kind of design like their layouts and present their material with nice big pictures as well as they can. Marvel likes to be different, so their section always comes in its own little magazine. I joke that it's because they do not like coming alphabetically last in the premiere section.
That's probably not. That's probably actually why. To be fair,
yeah,
is that they're afraid that you're getting like that you've already purchased everything at that point. So this way you do it first.
But the other thing that you can on a normal month, the Marvel catalog will cost $1.25 if you just want it, whereas you get it included if you pay $3.99 for the whole previews. So that's another argument that Marvel can sort of be like, hey, people are only out for $1 if they just want ours. This month it is actually straight up free, I think, because they are trying heavily to get you to check out Marvel Legacy, their current initiative.
And the adult Jean Grey.
Oh my God.
We were joking
well, we were joking before, yeah.
You know, comics has a problem when you have to put a parenthetical explanation note in your headline for your exciting story. It says, Phoenix Resurrection, the return of adult Jean Grey. And this is because there is a time-displaced younger version of Jean Grey, literally starring in her own comic right now. Among the highest profile that Jean has ever had. Can we
call her Teen Grey now?
Teen Jean?
Just Teen, or Teen Jean, that's way better. Teen Jean, never mind. Teen Jean is amazing.
I like both.
Teen Jean kind of won me over though.
Teen Jean Grey.
Teen Jean Grey.
Teen Jean.
Teen Grey is good too.
Yeah, Teen
I don't know. I'm actually excited about this, but it is a very funny comics.
I wish they had said the return of the grown-up Jean Grey or something. I don't know.
I just feel like somebody was about to send that to press and they were like, wait, that could be confusing. Just say that.
Adult.
How is it never not confusing when it comes to Jean Grey?
Could they not have said the original? Or is that, would that be confusing?
That would open too much interpretation, because this is the original.
And is it
She's time displaced from the original timeline.
Yeah.
So is it, there's so much. There's too many questions.
There's too much.
You want to know what you could do with about $87,000? $87,155?
Yeah.
Whoa! Holy cow!
Wow!
Wow!
Chris called that one out.
Wow!
How did you? That's. You should go on The Price is Right or something. That's insane.
For like $50 in comics.
Wow!
That's amazing.
A Tesla of comics every month in
Tesla
Diamond
of comics.
previews.
That is our new measurement. This is a Tesla of comics.
So if you're back here in the regular
Tesla of comics.
Oh.
If you're not among the premier publishers who have the special deal with a diamond,
With all the
if you are
crazy
back
pages.
here in the
Yeah, I'm trying to get through
alphabetical
DC.
section.
Oh, look at that cover of Hellblazer. It's amazing.
We'll go back.
Yeah. I'm still in DC.
Let me look for a nice.
IDW. Image. I know. I'm so excited.
See, this is what happens. This is how they get you.
Man, it's all so pretty and so exciting. Like it really. This is making me want to buy books.
I'm looking for a nice 2-page section with no.
Hey, there we go.
Purpose,
I'm
not
in
looking
Aspen
through
Comics.
my copy because I
Don't
just
go there.
I'll just distract even
mean, you
more.
could.
It's right next to the Archie comics, though, and that's making
and
me
that
excited.
makes me insane.
Oh, Riverdale.
Boundless is next to Bongo. That's also terrible.
Oh, man.
Sorry. There's a problem with the alphabet.
Okay, yeah, please. There's a problem with the alphabet.
There's a problem with the alphabet.
That it's random.
And it is that your Archie comics are next to some super adult stuff, and your
wow.
SpongeBob comics are next to some super adult stuff.
Really?
Yeah, you think that they would like Dewey Decimal this stuff eventually? That seems like such a better idea.
Alphabetical by publisher.
Oh man, that's not. Oh, Boom.
Yeah, tons of good stuff in Boom.
Oh, Lumberjanes.
We should do a Boom episode.
Boom.
Yeah.
There
Fun.
it is.
So here's an example of
This is why I should-
layout in the alphabetical sections.
There we go.
You've got Action Lab Entertainment. They have got listings for an Actionverse ongoing, for a book called Force, for the newest issue of Hero Cats. And then what'll happen is certain features that I don't think this is a paid thing, but like Diamond will do a featured item. They'll pick out some stuff in yellow boxes as you're paging through that you might want.
And spotlight on.
Or a spotlight on.
But-
I'm calling this one out because Jason Inman and Ashley V. Robinson, who some of y'all may know from being around the channel and the geek internet and from being lovely, lovely people, have a book coming out. And it's clear that Action Lab is behind them because Action Lab, it looks like, has purchased a full-page ad for Jupiter Jet. So this is like, it's a catalog. So you can pay for special arrangement like ad space.
Are you at page 254?
I am, yes, at page 254.
All right, so I'll put this down
Yeah,
by
thank you,
group
thank you.
so people can see.
Down by group. I don't think there's anything crazy on this page yet. So this is a publisher called Action Lab, and you'll see their regular listings right here. This is what regular listings look like. And this is, in general, if you're a shop and you haven't seen Online Buzz and you haven't done whatever, this is all you have to go on. This little picture of the cover and this little blurb about what's going to be in it, which will tell you usually who wrote it and what's going on. Now, if the company really wants to catch your attention, they might, let's say, buy an ad page. And hope that they end up spotlighted, and hope that in other ways you're flipping through this going, what
Look at that
is
big
Jupiter
picture
Jet?
of this person. I should buy that book.
So, but does Diamond decide what the featured item is in the spotlight? They do that?
Those two, I
Or-
believe, without having a total understanding here, I believe featured item and spotlight are both sort of internal selections by the people putting the magazine together.
Gotcha.
They'll sometimes pick a theme, like this one has a little badge for kid-friendly
Yeah,
comics.
everything on the page has a little
Gotcha.
kid-friendly badge, except for
Gotcha.
Actionverse Ongoing Stray.
And so they'll try to hand that out like to a lot of stuff each month to help you like break down stuff that they think might be cool. If there is another arrangement behind it, I don't know about it. I do know that I'm pretty sure you have to pay to have like a nice designed section back here or to take out a larger like graphic ad.
Yeah.
But I believe the sort of internal features like Spotlight and Featured are just Diamond basically drawing your attention to things that might interest you.
Sometimes at the beginning of this book, they explain things. I'm kind of curious.
There's definitely like there's some columns at the beginning of each that talk about like,
It is Video Game Month.
yeah, that's their theme.
They're interviewing the creators of Ratchet and Clank.
Nice.
And there's a memoir to the editor.
Wow, I think they got. Is there like a variation on the Konami code that goes differently from the one I remember?
What, up, down, down, left, right, BA, start?
Is there an up, down, left, right, ABBA?
I think there is.
Because Previous has opted for that reference, and I just got taken aback because I remember the BA start.
That's a little, it's a little more indie apparently.
We have one more suggestion, actually came from chat.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Who found this?
Wow, you guys! Oh wow!
A signed first edition Gone with the Wind.
36. Holy cow.
I love that they have to clarify that it's used. Like it wasn't in a closet since 1936. Aromia Fleiss. Thank you.
Wow, what a find.
Good work.
That went from book to movie in 3 years.
Yeah, well, the turnover was a thing.
Yeah. That's amazing. Fantastic find.
Convention calendar.
So they'll say things like, throughout this issue, we've marked the latest and greatest video game-related titles with our video game month icon. So get ready, Player One, and check out this month's offerings. They're doing their best to help take 600 pages of stuff and break it down in a way that makes sense. And a lot of companies like Boom designs their own section each month, even though they're not in the premiere section, they're in the alphabetical area. They've reached whatever arrangement so that they get to design their layout, give lots of space to whatever they're trying to draw the most attention to, have pull quotes supporting the books from different people, give you some other surrounding information.
So with Boom, because they also have Boombox and Kaboom, is that all with Boom?
They're all under Boom because they're all published by Boom. But they'll often group the imprints together. You can see there's a mini index at the top for Boom Studios releases, Archaea releases, Boom Box releases, and Kaboom releases.
I have a weird question.
Yeah.
That's right.
How many new comic book studios that open up begin with the letters A through A through G?
I've often wondered if it's if that's something that people think about when they're launching their comic book company.
Back when I used to work in anime, one of the things that they would absolutely do, this was something that was done, was they would try and figure out ways of putting the letter A at the beginning of a VHS title, which is why, one of the early DVDs I worked on was Nanako, which they retitled for the United States, Amazing Nurse Nanako.
Wow.
So that it would be filed under A. So it would have a better placement on the shelf.
That's amazing.
I'm not kidding. That is a thing. I found a Preview Legends here. They've got Gems of the Month, which are chosen by the premier publishers. Featured items, Spotlight On, Preview Exclusives, and they have a theme every month. I don't know what Certified Cool means, but
dude, it means it's cool.
It means it's they're calling something different. Staff picks.
There's literally a paragraph explaining what they mean by it.
Yeah, but it's just like
it's just another version of featured.
It means they ran it through an algorithm and they can certify that it's cool.
Look, that's a tiny cat wearing sunglasses. If that doesn't say cool to you,
it is in fact the Certified Cool badge for Preview is in fact a tiny cat wearing sunglasses.
Hold that up.
Well, and
we
reading.
can't just say that.
You have to say it's
And
reading also.
Reading
it's reading.
comics.
Reading comics.
Tiny cat, sunglasses,
Tiny cat,
comics.
sunglasses, reading comics.
Chief is.
I know. Poor Chief is like going.
We're sorry.
There we go. Okay, now I'll turn it appropriately. So.
Cool cat.
Cool cat.
Certified cool.
Certified cool.
Cool cat.
Certified cool cat.
But what's the difference between certified cool and indie edge?
This is what I'm talking about. This is why I'm having an issue in here. Certified cool is, are you looking for the next title that pushes, let me do this like a person who talks for a living. Are you looking for the next title that pushes the envelope? Then try out one of our certified cool titles. Books specially earmarked for readers who are looking for something a little different. Right meow. I added the right meow. I added the right meow.
Oh my God, you're so
Indie Edge,
dumb.
the cutting edge of independent comics and creators. Look for this icon on selected titles throughout the comics and graphic novels section. I do not know what the difference of these two things
section
are.
is that alphabetical listing.
It sounds like this was all written in like 1994 and never changed.
This is very 90s. This is very, very 90s. There's a Star of the Month offered again, which Star of the Month, best-selling backlist items. That makes sense. So like things that.
So there is, most of the previews is new stuff, but there will also, like each company will tend to offer a bunch of stuff that's already out sort of for reorder. We can usually do reorders online at most times, but sort of this comes out of the traditional, like, place your orders once a month if you need more of these back issues.
Sure.
Get them here.
Super 390 wants says, let Matt read it in his 1930s man voice. Is that the certified cool? Like, or
I think you should read, hold on. Read A Note to Toy Collectors at the bottom right-hand corner. And now, more from Master Previews Theater.
Toy collectors.
A note to toy collectors. Your retailer cannot guarantee receiving specific items, such as action figures, when they must be ordered in case of assortment quantities. Please be aware of this when ordering action figures. and other items designated as cases or assortments.
This is really sweet, and I know for a fact that most customers have not read the bottom of page 17.
You did very well. that was quite pleasing.
This is actually a really real thing, and it pleases me that they've put a warning in there because that's a thing that we frequently run into. If you see an action figure listed in here, sometimes it will be the case that in order for us to get your, like, Nico from the Runaways figure, we have to order a case that has 8 different figures in it. We can't just order your Nico.
The one you want,
So talk to your shop. Talk to your shop. They're the ones who will be able to help and make sure that you get the thing you want and not a bunch of other stuff.
And Morpheus 930 wants to asks, what institution certifies coolness?
Diamond, obviously.
Diamond is the gleaming end of cool.
The Cool College.
The Cool College?
Cool College certifies coolness. It's in the name. Cool College.
Cool College?
Cool College. It's
Cool Collage?
I do.
Cool Collage.
Cool Collage.
As we are going through this, I do have to shout out my buddy Jason Enright, who is just a wonderful human, and who for several years over at Fanbase Press did a podcast called the Previews Party Podcast, where, bless their hearts, they sat down every month, went through, found cool stuff in here, and helped to educate people on what this was and how it worked.
I am so into that.
Yeah.
Holy cow, what a good idea.
Generally rad. And we're, like, there is, if you pick up one of these, there's a whole page explaining what the previews is, how you use it, what your shop might want from you. Every shop is going to be different. Some shops, but this is your reference for kind of what's going on. Everything from Fantagraphics, the sort of literary far edge, to, like, there are adult supplements, and there's all kinds of stuff that you can get out of this catalog.
Now, at the end of our show, we will be doing our 5-minute segment.
There's some, bless them. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, we have a 5-minute segment, so start sending in your suggested topics. We will talk about anything for 5 minutes, as long as I mean, not anything, like comic book related.
Everything.
And it doesn't necessarily need to be related to our theme, though it's always kind of nice if it is.
I'm always curious what kind of interesting questions I can come up with, either on theme or otherwise.
Yeah.
I'm actually really excited. It looks like Silver Sprocket took out a full-page ad in the front of this, and this is a brand new publisher I just became aware of by going around con floors and seeing their stuff and being like, who are you, Silver Sprocket? So what you'll find is not every very small publisher works with Diamond, because you have to sort of guarantee them, like, you have to meet minimums of what they think people are going to order. There's a long application process. Diamond is a relatively small company, and it's not always easy for people lean and moving on their feet to work with them and, like, meet all their deadlines and meet all their qualifications and whatever. So there are small independent companies that choose not to work with Diamond, and this is another of the big shifts that's happening because of the internet. That is easier than it has ever been.
Because you can self-publish through Comixology and stuff like that, right?
You can self-publish through Comixology or physically through a number of outlets. You can kickstart your books. You can do a lot of things. But I'm always happy when I see, for instance, like, the cool artistic imprint I've been seeing at Comic-Cons deciding to dive into Diamond, because this means that if you're ordering for a shop in Minnesota and you haven't happened to be walking around at WonderCon and see Silver Sprocket, you get a chance to have this catch your eye and say, who are these guys? What have they got to offer?
Mm-hmm. I will say I'm looking at their internet page, and, like, I like it's delightfully, like, mom and pop 90s. Like, there's and again, this is not me making fun. I'm making fun a little, but it's definitely a loving making fun, because this is making me feel 8 years old.
It's charming.
Oh, Diamond.
Twitter litter.
We love
Twitter
you.
litter. I mean, like, Twitter litter.
Twitter litter.
This is interesting things said in tweets from, like, I assume months, years ago. Who knows? Like, Gail Simone said, "Wait, why is Taylor Swift playing Black Canary?" And that was a tweet that she apparently made that is now forever immortalized in the October.
Is there a picture with it?
There's just her Twitter picture. No, it's just like they decided that this was worthy of publication, and I'm like, I don't entirely understand. I'm down, I guess. I'm not telling them to stop doing this.
You got to read this tip from Kevin Panetta, an awesome comic book creator. See, whoever put this feature together.
Kevin Panetta, SBX M8, says, here's a good writer's block tip. Hire a person to hang out at your office, and whenever you get stuck, they yell, "What happens next?" And voila.
Oh.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I actually find it delightful.
Yeah, that is kind of delightful.
So you can see the previews is kind of trying to move with the times.
They're cool.
So
they're
One of the problems is that, like, they have now there are online versions of this catalog, but the last time I checked, which was a couple years ago, it was a 600-page PDF. Which was not the most usable thing. That may not still be the case. It's been a while since I checked in on that. And what you'll see is that the companies, because they've got their listings all prepared for this, a few weeks before this catalog comes out each month, you will see most of the major comic book news website run an article with a headline like this: October's solicits are out for Dark Horse.
Yep.
What that means is you're looking at the listings that are going in this catalog for October or December, depending on what they chose for their headline, whether they're emphasizing the month of ordering or the month of shipping.
Publish them outright.
Yeah, and they'll give you sort of this look at what's going on. Let's pick one of the premier companies. Who do you guys want to take a look through?
I will admit I was sort of hanging out in D.C., but I'll go anywhere.
Let's go to DC.
I don't have the book in front of me.
I randomly flipped to Kid Lobotomy, which is certainly making me happy. I'm very excited for Kid Lobotomy.
That's IDW.
Yep. Mask, which is
Mobile Army Strike Command.
Written by the phenomenal Brandon Easton. So.
Go to the beginning of IDW.
The beginning of IDW.
You can I show off the way?
Yes,
the spine. What do you call this part? That's the opposite of the spine.
No, it has a specific word. I don't remember, but and the only person I know who would know that is not here. Who's gone home for the day. Lauren went home for the day.
Okay. Sorry, I just wanted to show this off.
We're both on the same page.
This is basically them trying to help you again with your 600-page catalog by color coding your sections. All this green stuff is your alphabetical section.
It's got a little icon at the top, so you know what company you're in. It's really useful.
I should do it this way because this is the front. So here, we've got Dark Horse, who's just got white edges on theirs this time. DC, which is this whole blue section. IDW, they've got this little guy going up in the corner to tell you you're an IDW. Image, black this month. Marvel with a token page directing you to the supplement, because just in case you did actually try to navigate to Marvel, it's going, hey,
there's a whole
check this thing
magazine
that you should have gotten with it.
Bigger on the inside.
It is bigger on the inside. And then they'll usually have one page of the official Marvel toys. There are many, many more toys, but that's the end of their section. And then here is where you're transitioning into the alphabetical thing, and you get a couple pages of Diamond sort of picks, which is awesome. It's a great way to, this is usually there's worthwhile stuff on these pages. Strangers in Paradise.
Aww.
Are we going to get terms of service for that? Strangers in Paradise is a wonderful series that you should read.
It is a wonderful series, and we should talk about it at some point.
And then you get into the full-on alphabet, which is Aardvark Vanaheim, followed by Abstract, followed by AC Comics, followed by Acme Inc., followed by Action Lab, followed by Aftershock, followed by Albatross Funny Books, followed by Alterna Comics, followed by Alternative Comics, followed by Amigo Comics, followed by Emerald Entertainment, followed by American Mythology, followed by Antarctic Press, followed by Arcana Studio, Archie Comics Publications, Aspen Comics, Avatar Press,
Avatar Press,
Astronaut Inc. That Avatar must have been slightly out of order because they paid for the full page thing and you have to arrange them. And that takes us out of the A's.
That's a lot of A's. That's a lot of A's.
You mentioned Kid Lobotomy.
Kid Lobotomy.
Meaning of Night says a certain Brian W. Foster's making a cameo in Kid Lobotomy.
I don't think that's true.
I'm just saying.
That would imply people like him, and that's weird.
About
I
this.
love Brian Foster. He's a wonderful person.
So let's say you've paged through. You got through Dark Horse and you got through DC. DC ends theirs with here's the paperbacks and here's some statues and toys.
Statues and toys is usually
subdivided by their sort of publisher-wise, and then we get to IDW. So
I lost my IDW. Hold on, I'm gonna at Dark Horse.
153.
153.
Yeah, it's 150 pages in, and we got to the third publisher.
IDW. Oh my God! No, that's not. That's just a guy. I was like, that's Brian Foster. No, I was like, no,
that's a dude that looks like Santa Claus.
That's just a dude that looks like Santa Claus. Never mind. Okay, carry on.
I don't think Brian Foster looks like Santa Claus.
I have to make fun of him though. It's in my contract.
You will find. So IDW has. You can see they have a lot of listings every month. A lot of stuff that they publish. They are just over 10 years old, I think.
That sounds about right.
But they have. When
did they get Ron the Micronauts? Holy cow!
They have the whole Hasbro universe.
Holy cow!
Like a lot of the independent comics, the publishers, they do a mix of licensed and original material. So you'll see IDW's name on G.I. Joe and Transformers these days.
Very powerful, like teenage, like young Saturday morning. They have a Transformers versus the Visionaries, which was a battle.
I don't know what that is.
Visionaries was another toy line, which like the Transformers fighting the Visionaries happened in my bedroom over and over and over again. Like this was like. Transformers and the Visionaries would often team up to take Castle Grayskull. That was like a real thing. Oh
my God, I forgot about the Visionaries.
I think you're making them up.
Oh my God.
Visionaries, the magical light. There they are. They have.
They look amazing.
They're amazing because they're basically like Mad Max characters with hologram powers.
No, they were like they were Mad Max meets Care Bears, right? They were the ones that had like the emblems on the chest. Yeah. They were like Care Bears, but Mad Max Care Bears, but like humans.
Animals, with like animal powers. It was great.
Yeah.
What?
It was.
Okay, so.
Yeah.
We're highlighting the problem. You're IDW. You've got a lot going on. How do you show it off to the people? You begin with a checklist.
Yeah, keep that voice.
Here's the checklist of comics. Here's the checklist of graphic novels, special collections, games, and more, because IDW is getting into games.
Yeah.
It starts with something like usually, how would you put yours together? You would say, what's new that we want to draw people's attention to? Here's a number one. A very promising-looking number one from Shelley Bond's Black Crown imprint. Shelley Bond, we've talked about on here before, is a former head of Vertigo and an amazing comic book editor. And I'm actually legit insanely excited for this line of comics that she is starting up at IDW. In this month's catalog, this is the October catalog, so we're talking about books coming out in December, at which time we will be getting Assassinistas #1 by writer Teenie Howard, who I haven't really met, but I saw her on a panel this year at Comic-Con, and she was great. And artist Gilbert Hernandez of the Hernandez Brothers, which is a cool, friggin' legendary
It's giving me a little bit of a Love and Rockets vibe.
That would make sense. Because he's, half of Love and Rockets.
Visionaries is like a real cult.
Of course Visionaries is a real cult Hasbro property.
Rookie78 says, I just checked the wiki page and Visionaries is like a real cult Hasbro property.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
You are go to your local Salvation Army and you'll find
there's a Mask comic. How long has that been out?
You gotta read your previews, man.
Dude, that's Brandon Easton, man. You should be reading that shit. What? I'm not even kidding. Just fucking.
And now shout out time, because the next thing in IDW is Black Crown's Kid Lobotomy. By our own, and by our own, I mean she's really nice and has said nice things about the show. Tess Fowler, who's the massively talented artist on that book with writer Peter Milligan. So for instance, here's how the previews can get confusing. If you're looking at your previews right now, you're looking at ordering Kid Lobotomy #3. Now, of course, Kid Lobotomy #1 is not out yet. Because this is 2 months ahead of time. You have until October 18th to order your copies of #3, or if your shop like ours has a separate system for subs, just add it to your pull list.
So Kid Lobotomy #1 would have been ordered back in July and is hitting shops now.
If it comes out in October, which I'm guessing it does, then it was in the August catalog most likely.
We will certainly hear about it. We will certainly at some point get an earful.
Coming out in October, which means that September had #2, which means that
Three's
August.
coming out in December because it's in the October
that's December.
catalog.
Okay. Man, that is really confusing.
So sometime in October is issue 1.
Okay.
Previews. This is why I called the episode
Kid Lobotomy in October.
Previews of Future Now.
Wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey.
For the record, if you, and this may actually, for some of you, be the case, if you've ever wondered why it seems like you're always hearing about things and then, like, the time doesn't make any sense, it's because the internet will get really excited when the solicits for something first come out. That's when the thing has been announced. But remember, the solicits go online a week or two before this comes out, and this comes out 2 months before shipping. So the exciting thing will appear in everybody's, like, everyone will know what's coming out and who's writing it 3 months ahead of time. So at that time, we'll all freak out about whatever the cool, new, exciting thing is, and it will be a full 3 months before that thing is actually available for you to buy. This has advantages. It gives you a lot of time to build buzz, and it has disadvantages, because the time when everyone's most excited about it, you can't get a hold of the thing.
You have to wait for a few months to get it.
There's actually a huge sort of unsolved question of comics marketing. If you have a book coming out, when do you want to spend your time and effort? Do you want to spend it on when the book gets announced, even before it's available for order? Do you want to spend it when the ordering period is here, so that shops, and you asked how we go through this, we depend on customers. We depend on you guys telling us what you're excited about. Because one person saying that book looks good is infinitely more valuable than even us just flipping through and seeing that little thing and going, I hope this is cool. Like actually knowing that a human who shops at our store is into that thing is the single most valuable indication that we have that we should maybe get 10 extra copies of that for the shelf.
Okay, so let me throw this out there. Because I'm trying to understand all of this, because this is so...
Is this way too, like, I hope y'all are enjoying this. It's the most boring. I'm sorry.
No, this is fascinating. I love this.
I'm really into this.
This is my favorite Wednesday Club of all time.
There's so many unsolved problems in this model, and I'm just trying to focus on here's how it currently works, but like, there's so much.
So a couple years ago, I went into my shop, Collector's Paradise in Pasadena, and was just like, hey, I've got my Marvel, my DC stuff. What else should I be getting? And the shop guy there was like, dude, Saga #1. You've got to get Saga #1. Like, it's so great.
Had your back.
No, and he absolutely did, and I picked it up, and like, it's great, and it's one of my favorites. But how did he like he was like, or no, he actually told me the week before it came out. He was like, everyone's excited about this book. You're gonna love it. Had he read it? Like, have you like? Are there advanced copies? Like, how does like?
This is an evolving
How did he know
thing.
to tell me this is going to be the best thing out of 600 pages of this is going to be the best thing?
There are a few ways to know. Saga got announced as a project long before we were actually able to order it, and we all essentially knew to be excited because it was Brian K. Vaughan, because the premise sounded like the little information we had, like. I knew Fiona Staples as an artist. I knew Brian K. Vaughan as an author. He was launching an original sci-fi story. That was enough for us to know this was going to be a big deal based on the fact that he'd come off Ex Machina and he'd come off Y the Last Man. And this was the next, like, thing that he was fully doing. And interestingly, his first at Image.
I think it is, yeah.
He had just come out of Vertigo. So there was this sense of, like, this is the project he has chosen. It was just like an indie director who's maybe made a couple of features and then, like, off the heat of that announces their next project that they just made up out of their brain. You know it's a good one because it's the one that they're doing now that they have enough success to do whatever they want.
So it's like when Wes Anderson was like, what's up, we're going to do a movie called Royal Tenenbaums, and everyone's like, on it.
Yeah.
I was going to go Baby Driver, but that's right.
Saga was like that. We knew that was coming. But if you don't have a Brian K. Vaughan behind it, how do you get people like us to pay attention? A lot of people will now send either to the Valkyries or to a mailing list of shops or through Diamond even sometimes make available previews of the comics. There are some comics that we get early access to sort of either a portion of it or all of it to kind of base our orders on. And that's just your publisher and your creators have to decide for themselves like what they want to get out there. It's pretty common, especially for the indies these days. Now, there is an opposite tension. Marvel and DC will sometimes put something in here without a description or any creators attached for one of two reasons. One being it is a miscellaneous tie-in book and they actually have not nailed all that stuff down 4 months in advance or whenever they need to turn it in, which is the worst.
That's the most frightening thing I've ever heard.
Or because they're trying to keep something a secret, they'll have us order something that just says classified, like related to Civil War II, and we're like, I hope that's something people want. But this is a real bind they're in, because if they put, like, Death of So-and-so Memorial Special 4 months ahead of when everything comes out, it's going to ruin the stories.
Yeah.
But if you don't tell us what it is, we don't know to order it. So a lot of the times when I get frustrated about, like, speculators are all over this book, sometimes it's because, like Saga, a legitimately cool thing came along, and I love that people are discovering it, but other times it's because, like, you didn't tell us everyone would need this one part of the crossover that somebody dies in, because you were trying to keep it a secret, but that means everybody has their ordinary 25 copies and not the 600 copies we are going to need because Fox and CBS have just reported somebody getting shot.
Yes.
It's a tension.
So,
wow.
All right, so two follow-ups.
Did I answer your question?
You did,
Okay.
beautifully. And I love you 10% more than I did before. So how do you know how many to order?
That's a great question. That's its own episode.
Well,
For those of you who don't know.
I imagine it's like a steakhouse, which is that there's a guy whose job at the steakhouse is to figure out exactly how many steaks they need to sell. And you have to order enough steaks that you're not going to tell anybody you're out of steak. But for every steak that you're left with at the end of the day is money out of your pocket. So this guy's job is to just figure out precisely how many steaks you need on any given day, based on whatever information he has.
Are being written and drawn by different people every 7 months, and the characters will live and die,
steaks.
and the taste for steak will come and go, and then steak will have a hit movie, and try to guess how many steaks you need.
So what you need basically is a Dallen. It's like every store needs somebody who is just kind of plugged in like one of those creatures in that awful sci-fi film where they just sit in the bath and just...
The Matrix?
Like,
that awful sci-fi film?
The business of comics was built by people like that. The first distributors were started just basically by people tired of hunting around at newsstands for because
you were saying something earlier,
when comics were carried on magazine newsstands, they had the broadest reach they've ever had, but it was very frustrating to be a collector at that time because, for instance, there was not a set street date for things.
Yeah.
Your magazine vendor would get it, sometime within a couple weeks of whenever it left the printer. You never really knew exactly. And in fact, a lot of distributors would be like, you get 10 comics. You didn't exactly say, you didn't get to say, I need 200 X-Men and I need 15 Archies. They would just be like, some comics.
Here's
and
your
you'd be like, I run a grocery store, thanks for the comics, and you'd put them there.
Yeah.
Now, if you were a kid on a bike trying to actually get the next issue of Hulk, you'd be biking around everywhere and trying to find it, and eventually a bunch of those kids with bikes would be like, I'm buying 5 of these, and then I'm going to sell them to my 4 friends who need the new Hulk. And that's literally the people who invented the direct market. And this is what blew my mind.
Oh, yeah. This is great.
I was doing research before the episode today because there's still a lot I have to learn. Like, I know the last 10 years pretty damn well. And I've been reading much longer than that. But what I didn't know is that while the very first sort of comic-specific distributor was started by an English teacher named Phil Suling, who was like 36 or something, all of the sub-distributors that came up, the next, 19 companies, were literally started by teenagers. They were like, the stories I was reading.
Teenagers.
Yeah.
Bicycle, like.
When you see the things in the back of comics that's like, do you want to make extra pocket change? What's laughable to me now is that, that model of, just be your own little businessman is actually what people were doing. And it's no wonder that, it took a long time for business practices to sort of grow up and make sense because so many people were making it up as they went. And one guy was like, yeah, we opened our first shop. I was a senior in high school and my brother was in 8th grade. And those two, I believe, went on. If I have my people crossed, which I might, if I don't have my people crossed, which I might, those people were Pacific Comics who ended up going into publishing and publishing Rocketeer. And then folded. But in the meantime,
Rocketeer.
Had 3 offices in 3 different states while the younger brother who'd been in 8th grade was still in his teens. Because they were the only people who cared, and those people knew the market. They knew each other from cons. And the guys, there was one guy who was telling a story being like, well, when they first started opening up, what if we bought from Marvel directly instead of buying from magazine people?
Yeah.
They were like, and they were sort of like, well, you'd need to order 10,000 copies of whatever. And he's like, there's no way I can do that. I'm ordering 250 right now. And the guy telling this story is like, yeah, I was 13 at the time. This guy who was 13 was handling 250 different people's comic orders.
Because there was
the 70s were a weird time.
They needed pull lists, and there was no such thing as a pull list.
And then there were people like Lynn Wein who are like, I'm doing a fanzine with my friend Marv Wolfman. I'm a writer now. Hey!
Background to that is that over time, comics had struggled more and more on newsstands, partly because there was a big sort of historical turning point, I think in the late 40s or sometime in the 50s, there was sort of a choice where they had to get more expensive or cut their page counts. They chose to cut their page counts rather than up their prices. And some folks say that is a big reason that changed the course of comics because it made them already not hugely profitable for a newsstand. It made them even less profitable. They took up a lot of space and they weren't very expensive. You didn't make that much on comics. So you kept reducing the amount of shelf space you gave them. They kept getting more expensive. And in the meantime, the market was changing. Newsstands themselves were struggling with the advent of television and other market forces. So in the 70s, you get people who basically simultaneously invented comic book specific distribution and the direct market, which means stores devoted to comics. That got sort of invented in the early 70s, and there was a period apparently between 78 and 81, or roughly in that area, where in the space of 3 years, we went from 700 or 800 comic shops to 3,000 in the course of 3 years. The community that arose out of that was able to support the kinds of things that could never have flourished on newsstands. So you got the black and white indie boom of the 80s. You got ElfQuest, one of the first like direct market going comics, as we talked about. You got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You got all this kind of cool experimental stuff thriving in this new environment that could never have worked in the old days. But you also changed the nature of it. It became much, much harder to get new fans into it. Because once they stopped being in grocery stores, once somebody had to walk you by hand into a comic book store, the barrier for entry for new readers was much higher, and the audience started to age up. So at the same time that cooler, more sophisticated stories were available to adults, it created some of the problems we're now dealing with in terms of the comic book audience and trying to grow it back into the mass market thing. I don't know what this has to do with
No, that was
Freebies.
amazing.
I'm really sorry.
I'm going to watch our show and take notes.
Sorry, guys.
Like, no, I'm here live watching you, and I'm still going to go home and take notes on what you said.
And we haven't even gotten into, like, and I'm still learning about the distributor wars. Well, all these distributors popped up in the late 70s and then the 80s. And then in the 90s, like, because Marvel kept getting bought by different people, and one of them was like, I'm tired of dealing with these distributors. We'll distribute our own comics. They bought one of the distributors, made it like a Marvel exclusive one, and then the whole thing crashed and burned. And it was part of the giant market crash of the 90s.
I'm not broken, I'm fascinated. This is exactly what I wanted from this episode.
The other big change, and I think the reason I brought this up, was on newsstands, comic books were returnable, which means if the newsstand buys 10 Fantastic Fours and can only sell 3, they return the other 7.
And they get their money back from Marvel.
And they get their money back.
So was Marvel directly selling to?
Marvel sold to newsstand distributors, many of whom were apparently shady organizations themselves.
As the day is long, I imagine.
There's some great stories there from like early comic book distributors being like, and then they broke my windows, and I was like, maybe I won't distribute here. Fun times in the 20th century. People who bundled magazines would be like, and 10 of those from Marvel or whatever, and sell those to newsstands across the country, distribute them, ship them out, all that stuff. And then they would return unsold merchandise, sometimes honestly, sometimes fraudulently, as it turned out. Because there were situations that would be like, yeah, it would turn out like 100 copies of that never even made it to the newsstand, just got reported unsold, and then ultimately destroyed. So you can understand why the publishers, when Phil Seuling came along and said, look, what if you give me a sweet discount? He was the grown-up.
I know.
The 36-year-old wise old man, an English teacher apparently, who was already running like conventions and things out east. He apparently went to them and went like, hey, what if I just buy them outright? I already know what my people need. I can just order the specific things and I'll sell the rest of them as back issues. And Marvel was like, yeah, that sounds a lot easier, honestly. And they went, like, the first round of Is This a Monopoly hearings went down, like, within years of that happening. And then, like, all these crazy business shenanigans behind the scenes until everything sort of collapsed in the 90s, down to the one surviving distributor, Diamond Comics. And so as of the late 90s, they also got dragged into a monopoly hearing. But apparently, this time, it sort of went differently. They were declared not a monopoly because essentially magazines are a form of periodical, and there's other kinds of periodicals carried by other people. This I need to look more into. My shallow dive on this one.
We've had frightfully weak monopoly laws since the 1970s, so that doesn't surprise. Like,
but apparently,
that's where
one of those original 70s generation went up in the new one and basically said in the hearings in the monopoly hearings, basically said like, look, if you shut Diamond down, comics will die.
Yeah.
Which is true.
Which is true, sadly.
A pretty good point. So it's the interesting thing. It's very difficult to create real competition without totally disrupting what is an industry that has survived on like niche passion for all these years.
Comicsology is the first real disruption to the system that we've had in my memory since I've been. Diamond has been the only source of comics that I remember for my entire fandom of 25 years at this point. And
so we have many questions about where things go from here.
Well, I mean, like it's fascinating if you think about it, because that was amazing. No, that was amazing.
Sorry, guys, we haven't looked at it. I just wanted to browse and look at cool stuff that's coming out. I didn't mean all this.
Oh no, this is giving me license to be like really crazy for the Grant Morrison episode. It's going to be bad.
says my shallow dive. Yeah, totally shallow dive. Sure.
Shallow dive off a cliff into the Bahari.
We're only 3 pages into IDW.
But I mean, it's interesting to think about how this whole thing came up from like this notion of like the biodome of like comic books is like a pop culture biodome, as we sort of insulated ourselves and sealed ourselves off from the outer culture and just sort of flourished underneath glass. But like the problem is now is getting out of that system, which is
it was never
proving
meant
to be
to be
difficult.
only for a small group of people. That was a weird aberration. And what I'm very interested in now is the way that having comics in regular bookstores and and outlets like that, it changes things because it opens them back up to a market that can casually run across them.
But which also in its own system, own way also kind of threatens a comic book store, because comic book stores really also survive on a certain level of this insulary reality.
Look, we just need comics to live.
I know. It's just, it's fascinating. I think they will live. I think the question is, what are they going to look like?
And there is also
they're evolving.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like comics will die if kind of thing, but there is that wonderful quote that we discovered at some point that somebody said they were talking to Will Eisner, and Will Eisner said comics have been dying like since they were born. And the truth is they never die, they just change.
Yeah, and that's actually like, I know I bring this up every single week, but like I've been listening to this audiobook called 10 Cent Plague, which is amazing and you should read it.
For those of you with your Wednesday Club bingo card, please stamp it now.
Yeah, you can stamp it now, take a drink, whatever
Seriously,
you're doing with that
you can make a bingo card. That's great.
Yeah, I'm pretty predictable in what I talk about.
Aren't we all?
I mean, I think probably more me.
How dare you enjoy this book you're reading? Continue.
But it's very much like, comics are going to die in the 40s because they're all crime comics, and comics are like, so they don't like crime comics, eh? How about romance comics? Oh, comics are back. Everyone loves romance comics. We're all going to do romance comics, and then that happens for 2 or 3 years, and then like that starts to get a little racy, and like there's like 700 titles now between like 30 different publishers. And the courts are like, this is a little racy. They're like, yeah, but now we're doing horror comics, huh? It's monsters, like it's sci-fi. Oh, well, that's cool. Like, and by the way, like they're changing with the market, but like the court stuff forces them to change, but also audience tastes seem to kind of coincide with court stuff. Like it's really weird.
It's an interesting thing because you also, when you're forced into a corner, and if your most creative people go to work on that corner, often it reveals amazing dirt. If you suddenly hit a point where you feel like the only thing that you can get away with is superheroes, and you task Lee and Kirby and Ditko with some superhero comics, you might get the 60s.
Yeah, you might.
That's a great
They had already been working on everything else. Like Kirby had invented romance comics in 1947 in a previous evolution of the market. But like when you set them down to work and being like, all right, this will not get us in trouble, and DC's selling a lot of them, what have you got?
Yeah.
Like sometimes you get magic. I'm looking up just to talk about the way the market is changing and the most interesting factors to me. Just for the record, with 20 days left to go in their Kickstarter, Girls with Slingshots, one of my favorite webcomics, written and drawn by Danielle Corsetto and being published by the one and only Spike Trotman, who needs her own episode because she is a force of nature and it's amazing, is currently sitting with a target Kickstarter goal of $50,000 and 20 days left to go. They are at a measly total of $160,565.
Wow.
So they're doing well.
So this is actually the thing that has really changed.
Yeah.
Is they can go directly to the consumer and say, do you want this comic?
Now, I am delighted to say that Iron Circus, the publishing company Spike started, has started working with Diamond, which is great. But essentially, they don't need to. Yeah. They have their model in place, they have their audience in place, and they're extremely good at what they do.
I've definitely used Kickstarter for a few comic book projects at this point, where I've bought more than a couple books off.
Because comics struggles with communication and organization and inefficient distribution models, Kickstarter's been an absolute godsend. Yeah. And it took what a lot of folks like Spike were already doing in the webcomics boom of like the early 2000s or whatever, however that timeline works. Like a lot of folks, before there was a Kickstarter, they had basically like tip jars up and were doing like proto-Patreon like reward drives. Like a lot, webcomic creators pioneered a lot of the new models that are now bearing tons and tons of fruit. So that's another thing I'm very curious about, because now we're in this, like, thank God we're entering an age where some of that stuff is starting to work with Diamond. I think they're working out ways to coordinate. So for instance, IDW, I guess just to bring this around, is doing a campaign right now for a giant literary magazine that will include comics, interviews, all kinds of interesting content. It's called Full Bleed. It'll be a 200-page physical thing. It's not in there, but it's on Kickstarter right now. It'll be quarterly. You can back it on Kickstarter, but they, I think, are one of the first Kickstarters, or maybe the first, who worked it out with Diamond so that you can basically, if you're a retailer, order through that Kickstarter and then have Diamond deliver the books when they come.
Wow.
This is very interesting to me because this is brand spanking new.
Wow.
And it remains to be, like, there's a lot of unanswered questions about that, but it's like a really interesting new wrinkle in this sort of, like, they have flourished as separate systems that are not always super supportive, because when something's available in one place, it isn't always available in the other, and everything's a hassle.
Well, and I do remember talking to my friends in the early 2000s who were writing and drawing comics and having, and the difficulties they would have getting Diamond to take them seriously. And, like, there are a certain number of hurdles, especially if you're doing your own book, that Diamond, if you're like, hey, I've got a comic book that I want to sell, and Diamond's not going to just let you enter the catalog. They want to know that you're going to be able to deliver on what gets ordered. They want to make sure that you're not just going to be a single issue and then gone. They're like, they want to know you're serious.
And that makes a lot of sense, although frankly, some of the stories I've heard about the difficulty, like, some people have some rough stories.
There are some terrible stories in there. Like, this is, I mean, it's a monopoly of circumstance, which is different than a monopoly of combat, which is normally what we get, are like a lot of little companies beating each other to death until there's just one big one that then can just sit and play whack-a-mole with tiny ones.
It's a little bit of that too.
But except that it just sort of happened, and then there's not really they're no longer fighting competitors. They're just fighting natural forces at this point, which is it's different. It's a little.
It is interesting. And if you know anyone who works at a shop, we all have a lot of complaints because Diamond, as the only company, may or may not have the most incentives to make sure, for instance, that you always get what you ordered and that everything accounts correctly. And they're struggling under the weight of doing all of this. And apparently that can lead to a lot of errors and problems. And maybe it's like this in every business. It's probably like this in every business. But ask your friends about Diamond.
Yeah, and I definitely remember them having a lot of my creator friends going slowly mad, trying to, like, prove to Diamond Comics that they were the real deal. But now you have Kickstarter is such a wonderful way that, like, if this is really a thing that's happening, oh my God, that you now just can head in this direction, and then once you've met your minimum sales goal.
Well, Satine, what was the comic that she did? Satine Phoenix.
Oh God, my brain just turned into complete much.
Yeah, it's. For some reason, I remember it being like a Latin title. It was a great comic. She's an incredible artist, by the way.
Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. I was wearing this shirt like 2 days ago. New Praetorians. Thank you.
New Praetorians.
God, New Praetorians. Oh my God, hopefully she will not see this.
New Praetorians. We remembered it.
I have the book at home.
But that was kickstarted.
Yes.
I remember talking to her about a year ago about, like, hey, how did you do, like, I want to write comics. How did you do this? She's like, oh, I kickstarted it.
I kickstarted and spoke to no one I had ever met in my life for like 6 months of my life.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and I'm excited by some of the things I've seen. I'm still waiting on a couple kickstarted books, so I'm very excited. So. And a few coming around.
Who else wants? Should we just flip around because there's so much?
Let's flip around because I'm really, and I know that, like, eventually we're gonna have to do our, but like there's things like
we're gonna have to do our topic at some point
like,
as well.
oh my God, Star Trek: The Next Generation uniforms.
How do we help?
Yeah, let's
go see if I can find some questions while you guys dig around.
Oh, I love the action. I like looking at the action figures because I don't have the room for this stuff in my life anymore.
Liz, should we go ahead and do our topic now? Or is that what you're? Is that New Praetorians? There it is.
There we go.
Thank you.
God, Satine is so good. That is such a beautiful cover.
Lovely.
I love her.
Oh.
All right, you guys ready for the topic?
Oh.
You're gonna love it.
All right. What's the topic?
You're legit gonna love this.
Am I?
You're both gonna love.
I'm scared.
This so much.
Me with,
You're gonna love it way more than I love it.
Green Ranger helmet for $100.
You don't want the Green Ranger helmet.
I want the White Ranger helmet, to be fair.
Yeah, buddy. You want the White Ranger. You want the White Ranger.
Actually, there's a character. There's a character with a golden skull, which is the
your face.
I'm trying to remember his name. There's a Sentai. There's a Sentai character from Japan that I'm a really big fan of, which is a golden skull with a tux.
Here's the topic.
Okay.
This comes from Anima Visionary.
From Anima Visionary?
Topic. If Josie and the Pussycats wrote a song about you, what would it be about and how would it go?
I'd actually say I would love to hear an adaptation of the.
Wait, are we going?
Are we going?
Go.
And go.
All right, hey everybody, this is the Wednesday Club 5-minute topic, and the question is, if Josie and the Pussycats wrote a song about you, what would it be about and how would it go? I just want to make sure it's 5 minutes. We got to.
You're eating into our time with that?
No, yeah, go. You have it.
I have the easy one. I have these ones. I thought about this actually. I would love for them to do like a gender reversed version of the classic Dead Milkmen song, Punk Rock Girl. I would love a punk rock boy.
But is that about you?
It wouldn't be about punk rock boy. It would be about me. It'd be punk, or it'd be great. They could write like a little song about
how like a goth song about you. It'd be a punk rock song.
It'd be a goth version of punk rock.
Little bitty goth boy.
It'd be a goth boy version of Punk Rock Girl, which is just like a classic.
Goth boy.
It wouldn't be little bitty goth boy. I was not that little bitty. I was decidedly average with very nice hair. This is the thing.
Still very true.
Thank you. It's lush. Anyway, that would be mine immediately. Is they would have to. Is like that kind of tone of that song of Dead Milkmen, Punk Rock Girl. That would be like, except like goth boy version of that. So that would be mine.
Oh, this is such a good question,
and
I don't know how to approach it because Josie and the Pussycats is specifically a wonderful it's an inversion of all of the tropes of pop culture from the time it was made. Now it happens to speak really wonderfully to like our age as we continue forward, and the songs in it are really fun, catchy songs that stand alone pretty well. But my thing is what attitude would that movie have about a circa 2000 nerd girl?
Very positive.
It would okay, it would be a little chirpy pop punk anthem about it would be about getting excited about shit, and it would be from the perspective of one of them saying hey, I thought we didn't have any common interests, but I talked to you, and you love the things you love the way I love the things I love, and we're all excited together. And it would be the birth of, because this is before the Mary Sue, this is before, any representation for nerd girls anywhere. And it would be them, going on TRL and singing a, we're not so different, you and I, to all nerd girls everywhere for me. Thank you.
Wow.
I
have to follow that?
Yeah.
No. You haven't seen the movie, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I haven't even seen the movie.
You alternate possibility if you all will allow it. There's a parody boy band. They sing Backdoor Lover. You can make some guesses about that they are a parody of all boy bands.
They're called
If the parody boy band, they're called du jour.
Yeah.
Come on.
The day.
Yeah. Amazing. If you have a pitch for the pop punk girl anthem about you, do that one. But if not, do an NSYNC or Backstreet Boys. What would their song about you be?
I was gonna say that I constantly have this weird struggle of the religious me that I was raised as and the more secular me that I am now, where I constantly don't know where my morality is coming from, and where there's I'm not morally ambiguous, but I now the morality that I that was my base has now been somewhat disrupted by a more existential sort of life outlook. So I would have to have a song about that, but it couldn't be about that.
But could it be through the subversive filter of the fact that because the movie's also about sort of commercial concerns and stop me if this is way out of line, but could it end up being a song being blank is my new god now? About some pop culture stuff?
That's where I was trying to go.
Movie's about.
I've got a title, Strange Thoughts. Oh, not even kidding. That's a really good one. And I hear
Strange Fantasies.
I hear a very pop picky version of Guitar Pickin' Man from Johnny Cash, except done as a pop rock about back and forth.
What about a Strange Morality or something Strange Morality?
Strange. Too acidy for them. They're a little more. That's a little too.
For the boy band or for Josie?
I'm trying to do Josie. I'm trying to do Josie.
Yeah.
I do love the pitch of du jour.
Riot Girl. They're very Riot Girl.
I love it.
But I would want it to have
Strange Thoughts, yeah.
It would be this underlying metaphor of there's an imbalance that he's trying to get, but he's replacing, like, he's also found like salvation in comics and in geek culture.
They actually, what's the turnaround song? All of these thoughts, what are these thoughts doing to me, baby? I'm trying to remember the name of the song.
Why do you do what you do to me, baby?
Yeah.
Shaking my confidence, driving me crazy.
Yeah, there we are.
Yeah.
I'm feeling it.
Yay! We did it! This has been the Wednesday Club. You can catch us on the Geek and Sundry Twitch channel. What camera am I at? Am I looking at one? There we are. Oh, this one? We're the Wednesday Club. You can catch us on the Geek and Sundry Twitch channel, 7 o'clock p.m. on Wednesdays. I'm Matt Key.
I'm Taliesin Jaffe.
I'm Amy Dallen.
Bye!
Yay.
Come join us on Wednesdays.
We're not off or anything. That's just the end of our 5 minutes.
That's just the end of our 5 minute
Why did you suddenly decide the whole thing has to fit during the timer? Normally we cheat.
No,
we
but
padded with the intro material.
I don't know. I don't know. I panicked. I was like, this information has to be squeezed into this 5 minutes. Here we go fast. And then you were like, you don't do it this way. I was like, I forgot.
See, I was already okay, so I was like ready to pad that out anyway. So I was like, it's just the Dead Milkmen. The Dead Milkmen are in my head. They're kind of like the male version of Josie and the Pussycats.
I need a lot of playlists from you because I don't know anything.
Oh man, you're gonna love Punk Rock Girl is one of my favorites. It's fun to sing. It's a great song. I would sing it, except that would probably violate several terms of service. You can find it on Spotify.
Damon Blight says Doctor Strange is my new god by Matt Key. That's a pretty good song.
Okay, so between pages 1 and 600, pick a number.
Oh, that's.
Thank you. In the meantime, I should note this. This is a recent thing.
Is Image
within the
doing one
last
now?
year, Image, they started by making it a free supplement and spun it off into a, pay for this because it's probably really expensive to make a beautiful magazine like this. Image is doing a full-on magazine every month now.
Give us a number between 1 and 600.
It's got comics in the front, letter from the editor, interviews and features on various stuff. This is in addition to their regular,
7! Silverstein says 7.
Okay.
Jay Penrose says... No. Oh, there's so many numbers out!
This is what you get.
Jay Penrose said 98, so we got 7 and 98. Those are the first two that came through.
Original comics and stories in here, 7 and 98. Which one are you going for?
I'm going to 98.
All right, I'm going to 7.
A 98 is Cyborg issue 19 from DC Comics.
Nice.
Look at it. He's hunting and being hunted. So many things are happening. It looks like Predator.
That's Deathstroke. Is that still?
That's Deathstroke the Terminator.
Is that still Priest?
Yep, still Christopher Priest, rocking Deathstroke.
Emmy Eisner nominated title.
Mm-hmm. 7 is the previews, one of the pages of the tables of
Higher
contents.
number.
Higher number. Let's see.
Oh, I saw what I see.
Grizzly Cyborg says 420.
420. Cute. All right. There's just a big sign that says, really?
Yeah,
okay,
and then this is probably the last. Okay, I'll give you one also, Amy.
Back from the dead, Tokyo Pop.
Oh, my God.
Whoa.
Boy, do I have some conversations about that. Yeah, give me another one.
Malibu says 323.
323.
This is fun.
I know.
All right, that's probably where we should stop because it is 8:43. Well, we've still got Shielded tomorrow.
323 is actually the very first, is the Dynamite December.
Nice.
So they're just talking about Garfield, Shadow the Batman, Barbarella, which I'm kind of excited because I'm a Barbarella fan because it's sexy fun. And Sync, which is very exciting. And then I could just, I'm just gonna go to the
Pathfinder Worldscape Lord of the Jungle one-shot Humble Bundle exclusive. I don't even know, so many secrets in your previews.
It's so
This is available
crazy.
at your local shop. Orders are due on the 18th of every month. There's a new one of these every month. Please talk to your retailers about the things you want because this is too much.
Yeah, and the next time you go into a comic book shop and you see this giant book, now you know a little bit more about what it is.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, is a kind of a big, awesome, cool thing.
Deadpool bow tie on page 569.
Ooh, I need to get that. I love bow ties. All right, we've got 1 minute left, so we're going to close it out. Next week, we are going to have...
Not one,
but 2 guests.
We are going to ask our Black Geek friends we're actually just going to talk with them about stuff. We might ask them questions.
We'll ask them some questions. We're all going to sit on couches, and we're going to have a slightly bigger Wednesday club, and we're going to be talking.
Next week, we're talking in honor of October, Halloween month.
Right.
We're talking villains.
Our favorite villains, successful villains, interesting villains, strange different ways that one can become a villain, like the very nature of the idea of the polarity of heroes versus villains.
What are we considering naming it? Should we say that?
No, we'll figure out because we'll track it down.
I love your possible name for it.
We'll say the possible names for it next week. Is like
fair enough.
We've got Damien Poitier and B. Dave Walters celebrating their move to Wednesdays next week when the new schedule starts. It's a new schedule next week, but we stay right here Wednesdays at 7. And tonight
they'll be following us. And tonight is Shielded tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Tonight is Shielded tomorrow.
We're not canceled. We're moving to Mondays. Don't worry. But tonight, we're tonight.
Yeah. All right. I'm Matt Key.
Where can they find you?
At the Matt Key and sometimes on Instagram that I don't use.
I'm Taliesin Jaffe. You can find me at Executive Goth everywhere that matters.
I'm Amy Dallen. You can find me at EnthusiAmy, and I promise this is more interesting than it sounded like.
It's amazing.
It sounded very interesting. What are you talking about?
Sears catalog of the 21st century.
Come back.